going on.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's up to the booth, and we just saw Sneak and Show goldfish their way through Mono Red Burn.
Yeah. Turbo Grizzlebrand, if you will.
Yep. I think Grizzlebrand's pretty good there.
Okay.
Oh, and we're back down.
We're at a board state. 3 explorations staring down 3 Sensei's Divining Tops.
We'll have the names fixed momentarily, but the player on the right is a New Yorker and a vintage player. His name is Vasu Balakrishnan. And the player on the left, I believe, is Jason Siemens. Top-aided the last main event EE with lands. He always plays lands.
And this looks like a board state that's certainly either game 1 or game 2, but definitely not game 3.
Yeah. Vasu Balakrishnan and Jason Siemens.
Yeah. So this board's very, very cluttered. The Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale is a notable permanent from the land side.
Versus game 1?
Yes, and it looks like the other side is 3 div tops and a counterbalance chilling under one of them. Facing down 4 land drops per turn from the lands player via 3 explorations. Unclear if he has a loam loop going or anything of that nature.
So we're seeing Vasu activating top, I believe, in the end step.
Yeah. And he has a die on top of his library to remind him potentially to do some sort of shenanigans with the tops on his own turn.
I think to remind him to pay for Monastery Mentor under Tabernacle.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And ultimately could be more. So he has Glacial Chasm in play, so he can currently not be damaged, but he's always going to Dark Depths. So he also has Thespian Sage and Dark Depths in play.
Yes, and a Barbarian Ring where he's almost certainly threshold.
Yep.
So he may just be worried about prowess triggers saving that mentor. So it looks like we're going to pay for a mentor and a single monk.
Yep. Oh, that die is a monk?
Yeah, there were 3 monks, but that into the Glacial Chasm, I guess he assumed he didn't need to pay for all of them. So that is definitely a monk token. We'll see if at some point we can get them to use tokens.
Another top.
Yeah.
The full 4 set.
Yeah.
Is the blue card a counterbalance underneath
I
the top?
believe it's a counterbalance under it. I believe that's why we're not seeing some sort of either loam or punishing fire chain going.
Over? Sure.
Because he has, pseudo-infinite land drops and pseudo-infinite mana. Pays 2 life going from, it looks like, from 11 to 9, or potentially from 13 to 11, off of the Glacial Chasm cumulative upkeep trigger.
Yeah, so that Snapcaster that we saw Vasu top into, he's likely to float there to permanently stop life from the loam.
Yes, because life from the loam, one of the ways he can get Ghost Corded or waste
edited out of the game. And then all he needs to do is find Swords to Plowshares to make sure that he can get out of dying to Dark Depths.
Yes. 2020s do close out the game almost as fast as the 15-15s we saw from the other game.
A lot of big creatures today.
Yes.
Pretty sweet format, right?
Yeah. It's almost like they're some of the most powerful things that you can do. This format, if it's broken, it's here. Unless it's Gush.
Then it's banned.
Yeah.
Dig Through Time too good for this format. Treasure Crew is too good for this format.
Yeah, but that was just because they let you do too many other good things.
Too much velocity, yep.
Yeah. When you're reliably omnisciencing, it's a problematic thing. Oh, and he missed the trigger.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Because, the only thing you can say is, I'm going to stop you from ever casting Loam, and I'm going to find Swords when you go for the combo.
Yeah. But he does have
eventually you're going to die.
He does need to stick a Jace or something to win the game at some point. Do we know if he has how many Jaces he's playing? Looks like 2.
2. That's enough. You only need 1.
Yeah. Especially if you can keep punishing fire locked out.
He's got Blood Moon in the board. That'll be a good one.
Yes, Blood Moon is quite strong in this matchup.
He does have the swords in hand, too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So it looks like he's just natural thawing this Dark Depths.
Jason's line is to just activate a bunch of ports targeting all the white sources.
Oh, and then he's going to just go for it.
And he's going to go for it. Yep. And he's dead.
Oh, jeez. That is insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it's make a 2020 ring you and.
But he's at 21 though.
Yeah, ring you.
Barbarian ring. Sure, to get the last 2 points.
Upstairs.
Sure. When you said ring, I thought you meant wring out like a towel, as in hose someone with a 2020.
Like ranch.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were saying.
No, he's just saying.
So that was game 1.
Saying port you, end of second main. Port you, end of second main. Waste you, end of second main.
Make a
move
guy
to end
step.
Ring you, make a 2020 untap attack. you from 19
Yeah.
to dead.
Who needs spells when you have a free 2020?
I like that line. Jason kind of snuck through there.
Yes.
The lock was assembled. His obvious way to victory of just the broken card advantage from Loam was shut off, and he just managed to sneak it out with the combo.
So I maybe would have made him play through it in case he forgets his Tabernacle trigger, but it wouldn't have done what I wanted it to because Tabernacle says destroy.
So Vasu may have made an error by not electing to leave a bunch of fetch lands untapped, but
Yeah.
we kind of arrived a little late to
Yeah.
figure that out. I think he should just leave a bunch of fetch lands untapped.
Yeah, because the fetches obviously need to be ported twice if
Yeah.
you'd like to turn them off of being white sources.
Mm-hmm.
It's also unclear how much
And
wastelanding
of course, he
and
can
ghost
just
quartering
port
happened.
them twice on the previous turns, and then he only has to report
Yeah.
them once.
Yeah.
But that's like puts a lot of pressure on his wastelands and stuff
Yeah.
too when you can't loam.
Yeah, it's also unclear how many wastelands and ghost quarters and things like that had been looped before the
Yeah,
counterbalance lock had potentially
We
been
couldn't
set
see
up.
the graveyard eater, which
Yeah.
is a little bit of an issue. But
So, you want to look into sideboards?
yeah, of course.
So the lands player has access to 4
You're
tireless
a
track-
miracles guy,
yes.
so why don't we
Sure.
switch these up? There we go.
So the Miracles player has access to a Meddling Mage, an Is It Staticaster, a Vendilion Click, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Containment Priest, 2 Flusterstorm, and 2 Wear Tear.
So Miracles Master, tell me if I'm right or not. I would bring in Meddling Mage, Vendilion Click, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Blood Moon, and 2 Containment Priest,
So
and maybe Wear Tear.
I've actually been pretty underwhelmed with the Vendilion Click in this matchup because often they have something like a Molten Vortex to skirt it and it just dies and it peaks one time.
Okay.
And the flying just gets colded by so much of the
But
opposing
taking
deck.
Loam in the draw step is a real thing, right?
Yeah. But you're often behind at that point. Like Click's defensible, but I think it's like 7th or 8th on the list of things I'm bringing in.
I think it's like a function of how many things you want to take out.
Yeah, you definitely
And you do want to trim explosives, right?
Yeah. Explosives is quite poor. You can shave some swords or shave some Termini, but you don't want to leave yourself soft to the 2020.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's relatively stock to see trackers coming out of the other deck, so you definitely want to leave in some number of spot removal spells.
I don't know if I like Mentor. It seems too easy to find.
Yeah,
Tabernacle.
Mentor is a little bit slow and clunky, especially against both Glacial Chasm and Tabernacle. But I'm definitely snap bringing in Surgical and Blood Moon because Surgical lets you clip all the Loams or all the P-Fires, and the
do you
Blood
like
Moon lets you
Priest
just
or no?
demolish their mana. So Priest is medium. It's just it's mostly just a flash 2-1
stops
because
the
it doesn't
combo.
stop Dark Depths.
It doesn't?
No, it's non-token, so it doesn't do
okay.
anything to Dark Depths.
There we go. Okay, so then I don't like Priest.
Yeah, it's just a flash 2-1.
It's been so long since I played with Priest, I forgot how it was
Yeah,
worded.
no worries.
But yeah, so Flusterstorm, no, right?
Yeah,
So
I like Wear Tear.
You like Wear Tear,
you
but
can
you
try
don't
to
like
dis-
Flusterstorm?
No, so the battles are mostly fought face up. So you're trying to destroy random permanents, like sometimes they're exploration, but that's usually not a great target. But
Or Burgeoning, or whatever that thing is
yeah,
called.
but the
it's not
molten,
called Burgeoning, it's called Mana Bond.
Yeah.
That's the one.
but the Molten Vortex or Seismic Assault that sometimes
It's
they have
really
both board,
important.
it
Yeah,
will
yeah.
kill you. And also just like Needle for your tops and stuff like
Yep.
that. You just often are bringing in Wear Tear post board as a
So
miracle
it
stack.
represents inevitability that's tough to beat. Sure.
Yes.
And it's a way to win under Blood Moon, too.
Yeah,
It's just like Vortex you, Vortex you, Vortex you.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So you definitely want to keep that in check.
And I think from the lands perspective, and those of you who know me know this, I hate lands so much. So I definitely don't know the best cards to sideboard in from their perspective, but I would guess the 4 trackers are going to come in because
Yeah.
they grind well. The Beseiju seems okay to resolve Loam through counterspells if you need to.
And so we're going back to the match right now, and the players are shuffling up for game 2.
And I don't know, would you like K-Grip here?
So K-Grip's okay because it lets you turn off the counterbalance lock, but you also are just operating under the assumption your opponent has something like a Back to Basics or a Blood Moon, and you just need a way to deal with that through force of will.
And then do you like the Sphere of Resistance idea? Like
So I like
and
spheres.
Sphere?
I like spheres on the play. I think that they're potentially too slow on the draw because they're going to end
Okay.
up messing with your own development.
On the draw, you want to just grind a little bit more?
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think the K-Grips probably between 2 and 4. I don't know the right number, but
And
you
you
definitely want that effect.
Board out fire, right? You don't like fire.
Yeah, no, I think that the enchantment version is just stronger.
Yeah, I think Miracles is kind of like plays these games out as like a little bit of a tempo deck if they
Yeah.
That's why like it was intuitive for me to consider things like Click and Priest. But like I do think you bring in Meddling Mage for sure.
Yeah, Meddling Mage
Yeah.
is great because it lets you just try to turn off whatever you're soft to at that point. But the problem is that often your mage is just going to name a punishing fire or whatever, and the fact that Click can't insulate itself from that makes it significantly softer.
Well, if you think they're going to board out fires...
But I think they're trimming. I don't think they're boarding out all of them, because they still do toolbox their graveyard a ton, so they will still get some of them back for free.
Easy for them to find fire if they want to.
Yes. Also, they just have gambles. So, like, even if you just leave it in the 1, you can just loop it. And so it looks like our 6 or 7 from the lands player was no good.
Jason mulliganed a hand containing Tireless Tracker. He's mulliganed to 5.
Yeah, he's going to 5.
He mulliganed a hand containing Tireless Tracker and Sphere of Resistance.
Yeah. So he definitely brought both of those in.
Spheres. I was close to 100% on the trackers. I was split on the spheres.
Yeah. So I do think the spheres are more like a Daze card where it matters play draw, though. Obviously, you know, taxation effects not going to shine on a mulligan 5, but...
Well, unless they do, right? Unless all his all of Vasu's cards are
he just switches to a stacks deck?
Well, no, unless all of Vasu's cards are just cheap cantrips and stuff, and he can't really get all his have high enough velocity, even though he has more cards.
So it looks like we have a Mox Diamond, another Mox Diamond, a one-lander.
No, it's Diamond, Wasteland, Sphere of Resistance,
Loam Diamond.
And the back card is also another Diamond?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I think you just Diamond pitching Wasteland, right?
I thought you thought the Sphere was a Diamond.
Yeah, no, it's a strange hand. Oh, and he topped but with one land? So does the Exploration actually... He topped that?
Well, he can definitely pitch it and then...
He scryed bottom.
Oh, he bottom. Okay, sure.
So we'll see Mox Diamond be put on the stack, then the trigger...
Wasteland, yep. Exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that so this was him... yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is not looking great.
Oh, there's a land.
So that's actually just another copy of Mox Diamond. Are you jamming into the counterbalance trigger?
I would cast Loam right now and just hope to not get blind flip.
And Vasu just opted out of triggering counterbalance. Just didn't wish to blind flip into the 0-drop. He must be confident. Okay.
No, he just probably forgot that you could.
Okay.
Or maybe he just realized Loam was coming and wanted Jason to have the option to be afraid to cast it.
This is a very strong Loam, though, right? Because he just gets both these land drops.
Yeah. It's just super important that he does anything right now.
Yeah.
Under the lock.
Yeah.
And
it looks like it's a Swords, another Swords, and a Force of Will?
I think
or a Swords, a top, and a Force of Will.
Terminus Force?
Well, we know one of them's a top, right? From the reveal that
happened. Sorry. That's the top. Yep.
Yeah. So I think he topped a Force of Will that we may...
Unless he drew the top and then pondered.
Oh, yeah, this may be a main phase spin.
Yeah, I think that was a main phase spin.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And he didn't play the Tranquil Thicket because he wants to cycle?
Yes, and Vasu didn't play the Tundra in his hand because Wasteland was up.
That makes sense.
Which also makes sense.
So this Sphere, if there's a 2, it's going to really mess up Jason's turn. Right? Because
I don't think Jason really cares about any of that.
No, but
he's just trying to get stuff out of his hand.
If the Sphere's off, the Loam's off.
Yeah. Which is, I'd rather test the waters with the Sphere.
Oh, okay. So this Sphere is much more significant than I thought it was.
And, well, the Sphere would have been really good because it would have forced Vasu, when he did anything, to spend more mana, which would make the activation of counterbalance of top in response to spells less efficient.
Okay, yeah, because you get to try to pincer his mana.
Yeah, just pinch him in the mana department.
Okay, and so we see that he did board in Crossing Grip.
Okay.
Did he just...
He cycled Thicket and the Dredge.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing to know that you can do so that you can dredge...
And still get a draw step.
Yeah, you can dredge in response to surgical extraction or something like that, which is important to know.
Yes. Yeah, because the cycling ability is at instant speed.
It's a replacement effect.
Yes, Dredge is
and Loam resolves again. Wow.
Jeez. So he's just on a 5 or 6 card hand right
Jason
now?
is making diamonds out of donuts. I guess you could argue which of those things are better, but that's another story.
I suppose it depends on how hungry you are.
Yeah. But you couldn't just buy more food with the diamonds.
Oh, but if you're on a desert island.
The desert island hypothetical.
Yes.
Another time, my friend. But yes, so here we go.
So he played the Scalding Tarn now that he's found one, even though he's been sandbagging this Tundra.
And just cycled Tranquil Thicket there without dredging, I think.
Yes. But I don't know if he has other targets for his Loam right now, so I think he's just planning on playing it again next turn anyway.
Turn, okay, yeah. And he's going to draw... Oh, he's just going to take a draw step.
Oh, jeez. Okay. This Crossing Grip's going to be gross. Assuming that there's not a 3.
Well, remember that if he's blind floating a 3...
Yeah. But I think he'll probably lead on something that doesn't cost 3. And then once he can
Yeah.
see what that trigger is, then there's no opportunity to